Just be kind. I think these are times when it's very easy to not be kind to other people. And actually, I think just a little bit of kindness goes a very long way.
This podcast encourages and empowers you to create your own unique real story, develop your own unique real statement, and discover your own unique real self. The power is yours. Good afternoon, Gloria Kimberley. Previously, episode 817 of the 12-Minute Convos podcast. It's been just 2 years, 11 months, and 14 days since we last recorded that conversation.
I think the one tip I'd like to give people is to make sure they try and look at their health as holistic and connected. So if they are suffering with physical symptoms, is to remember that sometimes those physical symptoms are messages from the body to take a look at something.
That was then. This is now. Gloria, how are you doing today?
I'm really well, thank you, Angel, and it's great to connect with you again.
Yeah, according to that date calculation though, I'm guessing it means that you scheduled like this exact time when we spoke the time before. That's really cool.
Yes, which is unusual. Yeah, I didn't realize that. So when it came up, I thought, yeah, great. But I didn't even look to see when it had happened. But it's nearly 3 years ago.
Wow. Well, what's going on? The last time we spoke, holistic health was the topic. Yeah, I would say one of the biggest parts of our conversations. Yeah.
Yes.
So what's changed? Are you still doing that?
Well, I am, but I've morphed a lot in the last 3 years. So holistic health is kind of the link between everything I do. But really now what I'm doing is working on projects that reach a kind of broader audience. And I'm quite excited about that. So I've still been working one-to-one with people, but now I've worked on, 3 projects, I'd say, one of which has been my own podcast, which we launched last year.
What's the name of it?
It's called Sharing the Vibe. And it's all about holistic health. So we completed series 1 last year, and we were meant to have launched series 2 by now, but it's been such a busy year with these other projects I want to tell you about that we're only just about to launch it again. So mainly it was around interviewing people who work in the holistic health field or topics that are of interest to me. And that was great. It was well received, not by a massive audience, but we hope to grow that.
Yeah,
and that led me on to a project. As one of the ladies I interviewed, she was telling me about a meditation project that she had helped create in Nottingham, which is a city in the Midlands here, about 2 hours away from us. And she was telling me how she wanted this to take off in the rest of the United Kingdom and around the world. And I thought, we have to do this in Leeds, getting a group of people to get together and meditating at the same time. So it fits in with what I believe about self-care and kindness, and also about sending peace out to the world, because there's something about getting a group of people together with that intention to do something at the same time that grows exponentially.
So how's that been?
That was amazing. So we did the first one in May at a beautiful park here in Leeds. We had nearly 2,000 people attend the event. So not all meditating at the same time, but we had loads of things going on. I mean, it was like my dream event because we had, yoga classes and qigong, and we had talks going on, and we had stalls offering all sorts of complementary health things and crystals and natural products and healthy food. So it was great. It was a really lovely day, and it connected lots of people in our city. So that was great.
That was wonderful. So what happened to Zumba? Do you still do Zumba?
I still do Zumba, yes, on a Friday morning and on a Sunday. And that keeps me going and keeps me healthy, and I just love the music. And I still do yoga as well. That's part of my routine. So those things are very important to me, and they keep me supple. I'm now 53, so I want to look after myself. And I was blessed with a healthy body, and I do everything I can to keep it healthy and well.
Wow, that's amazing. I love how that evolved. I mean, from Zumba to being the person who is creating an event that pulls the entire community together. I know when we spoke, that's something we talked about that was very core to you, like making a massive difference. And you are doing that, aren't you?
Yes, and I think that it is about the community aspect of it, because you bring people together who they may not even know what they're going to, but they're just something interests them, or they're curious, or they're intrigued, and they want to go, and they come and find out more, and suddenly they find all these people who are interested in things like they are, and they want to grow. They want to have the best version of their lives, and they'll try different things to achieve that. So yeah, the community aspect. So that led me on to my latest project. So I'm running 2 projects at the same time now.
Right.
And the new one is called the Leeds Festival of Kindness, Compassion and Wellbeing. So this takes it to an even higher level because it incorporates all the self-care and self-kindness, things, but also about caring for others and caring for the planet and just making our city the best place to live. That's what I'm aiming for.
Wow. Yeah. So how has all of this impacted your 2 sons? Like, what's been their experience?
Well, they're at a lovely stage in a way because they're becoming more and more independent. So my eldest son is at university, and he took a couple of years out, and I think that was the right thing for him. And so he's now grown up into a really lovely young man, and I'm very proud of him. And he's still figuring things out, of course. In your early 20s, you're figuring all sorts of things out, but he gets a lot of what I talk about. When your kids are young, I know you have young children, you do all these things and you hope that some of it sticks. And then they start growing up and they start talking to you, and you can see that actually in how they behave, that some of it did stick. And you're like, oh, thank goodness for that.
Well, that gives me joy, right, to know that. I'm intrigued that your earliest childhood memory when we spoke was the experience or how you felt when you were at an amusement park being on a ride. And I think you were by yourself, right? And you weren't too fond of that. Do you remember that?
I do. Yes, I do.
So here you are today, though, and you're creating events that surround being in parks, right? But ensuring that no one is by themselves. And that's pretty intriguing to me, like the way that theme ran across your life to a scenario where you're ensuring that others don't have to live with that, right? Like they can get to be at the park, it's important, but being by your lonesome is not something that you're encouraging. Do you find that intriguing?
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting you pointed it out because it's not something, I quite made that connection because, you do want people to feel connected to others because actually we are all connected. And that's, yes. I think, in terms of the big spiritual sort of my understanding, how it's evolved is we're all connected. We just sometimes don't feel that way. And it's about helping people to see it and to feel it so that they don't feel lonely, because you can feel lonely surrounded by a whole bunch of people. It's not the act of necessarily being with other people. It's more understanding that we are connected so that when you are in that shared experience, it's even more powerful because then you get it and you feel it. That's the thing. You feel the energy of sitting with a bunch of people and meditating or doing a class with them or just having a shared understanding of something. So, yeah, it's great.
Was your husband always on par with this, or did he catch on late, or was he on there from the beginning with this entire movement?
He's always been open to things that I've done, but it took him a little bit longer to catch on. And now he's totally into the stuff I talk about. And in fact, he was crucial in helping me develop the podcast because he's a musician. So he knew all about audio and equipment and things that I have, didn't really know anything about. So he ended up first acting as a producer for it. But actually, what's great about his participation in the podcast is he's kind of the voice of every man. He doesn't know all about these things, so he asks questions that sometimes, information I take for granted because I've known it for so long. He then asks the question, and I'm thinking, actually, yeah, for people who don't know about this stuff, that's a really important question to ask. So yeah, it's been great to see his evolution.
Yeah, the aspects that you touched on was helping others improve physically, emotionally when we spoke, and you're doing that. Now, where can people connect to find out more for those that are listening?
Right. So I do have my website. It's that's something I need to change a lot because it doesn't necessarily show all the kind of new stuff I'm doing. But I'm on all social media, LinkedIn, Instagram. If they put my name, Gloria Kimberley, Facebook, I'm on that, and I try put stuff on all of it. If not, I mean, it's not always about me, really. In fact, most of the time it's about things I'm interested in and just snippets of positive news or kind thoughts or just things like that, because I actually think social media can be a great thing if you use it wisely. So yes, those are the ways to connect with me.
That's wonderful. There's a conversation we've been opening up, the conversation of death, the possibility that you could die today or tomorrow. Is that something that you surround yourself with, that conversation, that reality, or is it something that you put on the back shelf and don't want to look at or speak about?
Well, I think it's really important to talk about it. And actually, it's on my list. I've got a whiteboard here with podcast episodes. And one of the ones I want to do is about death and bereavement, because I don't think it's spoken about enough. And because of, I guess, my belief in something more, I'm kind of at peace with it. If it's the time, then that will happen and I'm at peace. And my boys they're okay now. I think I've done what I needed to do for them. So I'm kind of at peace. I think when they're younger, as a mother, you don't want to leave them before you've kind of helped them grow up. But now I'll do whatever I can to look after myself and my health and well-being. But at the end of the day, it's not my call. So.
There we go. But Gloria, I do thank you for passing by. It's a great pleasure, a grand opportunity to have this opportunity to get in here and check in to see where you are, what you're accomplishing, if you've continued, and to hear that you have is very motivational and inspirational. So I do thank you for that. In closing, is there anything else you'd like to share with our amazing audience?
No, just to be kind. I think these are times when it's very easy to kind of fall into not being kind. And particularly here in the UK, we've got an election coming up. And it's just very easy to not be kind to other people. And actually, I think just a little bit of kindness goes a very long way. So that would be my message to your audience. But thank you very much.
Yeah, you're welcome. And that is actually very glorious. Pun intended. Gloria Kimberley, again, a great pleasure. Thank you for being on What Is Inspired by 12-Minute Convos with Angel Jones. This podcast is produced by Pod Edits. Visit podedits.com for professional podcast publishing.